Yo, hey, what's up, guys? We finally got some information about Matt Kapper. And at this point, I actually should watch Alice in Wonderland because I have no idea who he is. Maybe you can clear me out who that is, but is his skill set amazing? Is it not? We're gonna find out in a second when that video is basically over. Alright, so let's talk about the skill set. You will be our fusion, mixed fusion, starting on the 8th. And we can get him, his affinity is force. That plays a huge role on the end. Like, it's always dependable on your affinity. But what is he actually doing? Let's go over his A1. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 25, a 50% chance of stealing one random buff. Each hit also has a 75% chance of applying a debuff spread effect. That is actually nice. Taking one debuff from each target and putting it on all enemies under a hex. So that is actually twice. That is, hey, to be honest, there are sometimes in Hydra is really useful. Sometimes when you use an Astrolith, I think is the name, to spread those bombs. That is actually really nice. Like, let's be for real, for an A1, it has some potential. It's not like A1 and you do extra hit or something. So A2 attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance up to 100 of placing a hex debuff and a 25% weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. There's something. Hex and weaken is totally useful for Hydra and also maybe potential for Chimera, but then the hex is not that great anymore. For Arena, could be useful, like, yeah, but debuffs, you know, sheep, meh. The ally with the highest crit damage, that's a juicy part about him. For real, that one is really good. The ally with the highest crit damage will team up and join the attack. The ally joined this attack will use the default skill. The damage dealt by this ally joined the attack will increase by 10% per each debuff on the target. So if you have 10 debuffs, the guy who's joining in will do 100% more damage. That means double. If you do 800k, you do 1.6. That is that is amazing. For real, that is a really good one. Because also, what I think in this game, it's a little bit more needed, but they kind of do it more and more. The A3 increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. Perfect. I really do enjoy my buff extenders, but they're always lacking on something. And decreases the duration of all debuffs from all allies by 1 turn. Also, it's kind of a pseudo cleanse where it's a good one. But the good part, like the cooldown goes up to a 3 turn. Also on this ally attack ring thing, it's always on a 3 turn. That is really nice. But also fills the turn meter of all allies by 20%. And a buff increase guy plus a turn meter fill is some source of a good thing. It is, like, for example, for Hydra, if you have a Duchess, you basically, for the perfect veil to counter the blue head, you want to basically bring 2 buff extenders to make that perfect veil go all the time up. So every time you take a turn, that perfect veil is up and you won't get the fear out of it. And for things like this, or also the Chimera team, what I showed, where you basically have protected the buffs, and you increase them endlessly and you will basically never lose it, you can make a really easy full auto team. And yeah, he will be especially fine for it. But also, yeah, he has a nice passive, what I quite enjoy or maybe hate when I face it. I don't know yet. But every 10 turns taken by allies, he hits all allies by 20% of their max HP. Nice, like, let's be for real, in most of boss scenarios, when you really mean it the right way, you go 2 turns while the boss takes 1 turn. So basically every time the boss takes a turn, you get 20% heal out of it if you time it correctly. And it's a really good one. But every 6 turns taken by enemies places a true fear debuff on all allies for 1 turn. Just by them taking a turn, they will get a true fear. Like, let's say that some of them have like a mythical or something. You get extra turns and ooh, that could be really nasty. If there are multiple champions, yeah, okay, that will only trigger once. The aura is accuracy in all battles by 60, which is also really good. So what I think about him, I think he's a good one. Buff extenders with something extra, like a Mikage or Chris, or like even a Dimifa or something, is always appreciated. And I do think he does a real great job. He extends your buffs, then brings the guy with the highest crit damage in every 3 turns, and basically almost, maybe you can set it up, doubles your damage. That is really fine. And also he brings exactly the debuffs that what you need most of the time. Like on buff extenders, you kind of missing always something, but a weaken and a hex on a buff extender that does more damage for your damage dealer, well appreciated, like for real. Arena, I don't know exactly if that champion would be so useful. Let's be for real, it could be kind of nasty about the true fear, but the rest of his kit doesn't scream like, hey, use me in Arena. It's more like a, PvE champion in my eyes. Arena, just not happening. But also, we got more news. Let's be for real, there's always more. So what do we got? On the Wednesday, we get a double event for Regeneration and Fire Knight. Alright, that will happen on the Wednesday. And on the January 11th, we're planning to launch a 2x event dropping Night Revenants from Spider accessories. Also kind of okay. I personally don't farm those things anymore, but hey. On Wednesday, January 15, we're planning to launch a 2x, they should actually be 3x's, event dropping Retaliation. Yeah, that is not really like what people most of the time are really farming, but we got one more, and moreover, on Saturday, January 18th, we're planning to launch a 2x event for dropping speed sets. Speed sets are still, if you get the really good ones, it's still one of the most powerful thing in here. Of course, these days you can farm protection, but we all know protection doesn't come like about your energy. It is a weekly thing, so you can't really farm it. And yeah, being speedy in Arena, super important. I just did it for myself where I went like speed teams again, and it kind of was really enjoyable. So that was everything I got for you right now. Fusion looks, hey, I tell you, go for him. Like, you probably don't lose anything. Maybe he's not be the most useful for you, but for example, in Chimera, when you need damage and he does more damage for you, in Hydra, you can probably get so much out of him. But so I recommend go for him. Like, don't break your bank. Please not. It's like not a must do, but he's one of those champions you kind of want to go for it instead of Jetney or something. Jetney wasn't really performing so great, but he is one of those things you want to actually go for. But yeah, that will be the end of the video. Subscribe if you haven't done already. Of course, press the like button, and yeah, have a nice day.